This is part 2 of the read-along for Unit 3.05, Impressionism 1, The Art of the Impressionists. Changing Light and Weather. Monet explored the way that light and weather changed the perception of an object's color. He painted these haystacks during different times of the day and during different weather conditions. Describe the light and weather in each painting below and how they changed the color. So you'll do this activity on your own as you click through the content in your class. Claude Monet. Claude Monet was a pioneer in the development of the Impressionist style. Born in Paris in 1840, he and his family soon moved to the seaport town of Le Havre. As an apprentice under the tutelage of painter Eugène Boudin, Monet learned about a fresh, new approach to outdoor painting called plein air. At the age of 22, Monet moved to Paris, where he lived for several years. He continued his artistic studies and developed a broad circle of artist friends, including Edouard Manet and Pierre-Auguste Renoir. Later in life, Monet moved to the small French village of Giverny, where he produced some of the most magnificent paintings of his career. So, Claude Monet was a pioneer in the development of the Impressionist style, meaning he was one of the first to develop this style. He was an apprentice under the tutelage of painter Eugène Boudin, meaning that he was a student. Under the tutelage means he was being taught by Eugène Boudin, and he learned about a fresh new approach to outdoor painting called plein air. He met some other Impressionist painters that became his friends in Paris, among them Manet and Renoir, very famous Impressionist painters. And then later he moved to Giverny, where he produced some of his really famous paintings. Monet's Water Lily series. Monet lived at Giverny for the final 20 years of his life. He tended to the lush grounds near his cottage and made many paintings of the rich scenery. He enhanced the property by creating a spectacular water garden, complete with a Japanese-style arched bridge seen in this painting. So, the last 20 years of his life, he lived in Giverny and tended to the lush grounds, meaning that he took care of the gardens around his cottage, and he created this water garden with a Japanese-style bridge that went across it. And each day Monet would set up his canvas in the garden and paint what he saw. Over time, he noticed that the light and shadows changed after only an hour, so he decided to work on one painting at the same time each day for only 1 hour. When the time was up, he worked on a different painting. While the bridge, the pond, and the flowers appeared in several of his works, each painting is unique because the light and colors are different in every one. So we talk about the Impressionists trying to capture the impression of the way the light looks at a certain moment in time. And this is what Monet was really methodically doing, what he was carefully doing. So he would make the same painting at the same time every day and sort of watch how the light changed in each one of his paintings. Impressionist conventions. Monet broke from established realist practices. He did not sketch his compositions in advance. Rather, he worked quickly and spontaneously, filling each canvas with short, lively brushstrokes. He used dabs of vibrant color to capture sunlight dancing across objects. Monet did not mix his paints on a palette. Instead, he applied pure pigment directly to the canvas. Instead of using white and black to depict shadows and highlights, he used vivid color. In a further break from tradition, Monet did not use outlines, Renaissance chiaroscuro, or smooth tonal values to render forms. Instead, the brushstrokes and bold colors worked together to convey images. So there were all these traditions that artists followed that Monet decided to break away from. He didn't make a sketch first. He just worked quickly and spontaneously, meaning like spur of the moment. He didn't have a plan. He filled each canvas with short, lively brushstrokes. He used dabs of vibrant color to capture sunlight dancing across objects. Instead of mixing his paint on a palette like we think of, if you think of Bob Ross and his big palette that he uses to make his landscape paintings, Monet did not do that. He just took paint straight out of the tube, pure pigment, and put it directly onto the canvas. He didn't use white and black to show shadows and highlights. He used vivid colors. So if there was a really bright highlight, maybe he would use a yellow. And if there was a really dark shadow, he would maybe use a dark blue or a violet. In a further break from tradition, he didn't use outlines, chiaroscuro, which is like really light lights and really dark darks, or smooth tonal values to render forms, meaning like smooth shading to render forms, meaning to show objects. Instead, the brushstrokes and bold colors worked together to convey images. Many critics did not warm to Monet's approach. They believed that his paintings lacked clarity and that the colors were garish and bright. What do you think? So, lots of critics thought that his paintings lacked clarity, meaning it didn't clearly show what was going on. They were, again, sketchy and messy, and that the colors were garish and bright. So, they're like too bright, kind of showy, like too much. They thought his colors were too much. They were too extra. So here there's a brushwork of Monet activity that you can go through as you're going through this content on your own. Here's this activity where you can go and kind of study the brush strokes as it zooms out from this painting. Water Lily Pond, Harmony in Pink. The staccato brushwork may suggest a haphazard approach to painting, but Monet created a strong, disciplined composition in Water Lily Pond, Harmony in Pink. He invites the viewer into the scene, presenting a close-up of the arched bridge. The dense foliage masks the sky, framing the bridge and water lilies below. Monet's lively technique provides unity to the arrangement. So staccato brushwork, meaning short, sharp brush strokes. It may suggest a haphazard approach to painting, meaning no plan, kind of sloppy, just sort of here a brushstroke, there a brushstroke, sort of just kind of crazy, like brushstrokes everywhere, right? But Monet created a strong, disciplined composition in this painting. So even though whenever you look at it up close, you have all these short, sharp, crazy little brush strokes that look like nothing up close, but then whenever you kind of back up, you see this strong composition, meaning the way everything is arranged in this painting. He invites the viewer into the scene, presenting a close-up of the arched bridge. The dense foliage, meaning like the thick leaves and grass and plants, masks the sky, so you can't see the sky because all of the leaves and things are too thick. And that foliage, the leaves, frame the bridge and the water lilies below. So you've got all this foliage on the top and the sides here, all this leaves and grass and vegetation, green stuff, framing the bridge and the water lilies. This lively technique provides unity to the arrangement. So everything looks like it goes together because of the way he does this. Monet created his works in series, that is, he painted the same subject several times under different lighting conditions. Water Lily Pond, Harmony, and Pink is from a sequence of paintings that Monet completed at Giverny. Explore Water Lily series by Monet activity on the next screen to compare two paintings from this series. So again, this is what we were talking about, where Monet would go out and do the same painting at different times on different, or at the same time on different days to see how the light changed. So this is another painting in a series, meaning that there's more than one painting that all go together. And here is this activity that you can click through on your own whenever you're going through this content.